Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. I've got the left and right twist on the sleeves done! Yay! I checked them and I think they look okay. Right now the up and down looks a little bit funny, which is... well, the corner here looks a little bit funny. But today I'm gonna go get that up and down looking right. So, I kinda got it started last time. Unfortunately, I only have to do them on one sleeve, and then I can just mirror it over to the other side. So that's the plan there. And so I'm still kind of trying to figure out exactly how I want it to look. I think I have it mostly right, though. There's like a few spots like here that I want to curve a little bit more. And that kind of thing. But I think that I have the basic directional stuff in. I just kind of need to clean it up and make it all look nice. Which... always easier said than done. I'm just kind of staring at it and making sure that I like the way everything looks for the time being. Or, I guess I shouldn't say the way... I'd like the way that it looks, because I don't. And I probably won't for a little while. But... yes, it would be more accurate to say that I like the idea that I'm going for. And that I think this kind of twist is... accurate to the way it should look in the end, and I'm not quite sure it is. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here right now. No, what exactly is bothering me? Okay. So I think I'm just gonna go over a few places first. Last time I just only made the point of getting started. So here is where I really take those ideas and refine them into something I can actually work with here. So I think I want this part to be like rounder. That was definitely the first thing that jumped out at me. Give it the kind of impression that it's kind of twisting. How do I describe what is going on in my head here? How do I? So basically the idea of this entire turn that I'm doing here is, you know, when you... well, when you have a coat with nothing in the sleeves like this, and you flop it to and you swing it to the side, it's probably going to, like, twist around, especially near the bottom here. I'll probably put a little bit more of a twist in the bottom here at some point. But when it swings around, it kind of also twists. And now I'm trying to get the impression of how it would twist when it's going up and down. Like, this isn't about how it swings. This is just about that twist. And, so I'm picturing that, you know, when you'd go up, it would all kind of... like, when your body moves up, it would all kind of start twisting forward. That's what I say. It's hard to describe with words. I am trying my best. But yeah, it would kind of twist forward, like if you picture the bottom of the sleeve, it would kind of twist backwards, where the back that we see here kind of goes further up, and we get a little bit more of a gap between the front and the back, whereas here I have it going the other way, where it gets flatter. And it all kind of squishes together. So that's kind of the impression that I am going for. Just... hopefully it'll make sense once I actually rig it. Words are hard. Words are so hard, man. But yeah, I think that kind of shape will be good, and then I feel like I could almost do a little bit more with the back there. I think I'm gonna be unsetting things a lot here. And now I'm actually wondering if, with this particular twist, if I want to open up the bottom. I guess for this direction, I would actually want to squeeze them together. It's much like what I was doing with the other angles. When, if you think of it like a skirt, when the girl in the skirt jumps up, it all kind of squishes together, gets kind of squished up against her legs and pulled downward a little bit. And when she goes down, it kind of fluffs up like a parachute. So I'm keeping that structure in mind while I rig this, and I'm wondering if I want to do something like that. You know, let's just see what it looks like. If I don't like it, I will undo it. The joy of digital art. It's very safe. You can just try things and it's fine. Also gonna adjust some of the vertices here because I felt like they were being stretched out a bit. So, okay, let's maybe just bring these a little closer together. I don't know, does that look good? Or does that look weird? No, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I want to do something like that for these guys too. Actually, you know what? No, now that I think about it, I do want to add a second parameter to my twist here at some point, just to make some of these areas in between a little bit floppier, and I think that'll be a great time to mess with the cuff of the sleeve here. So, yes, I think I do not want it to be like that. I have talked myself out of doing this. Okay. So in that case, yeah, I want to keep this all looking relatively the same, just, again, with that slight twist that I keep talking about and cannot describe in any reasonable fashion. It's okay, this is how you approach making everything a little bit more three-dimensional. You gotta think about it, and you gotta think about it hard. Because it is pretty hard to think in 3 dimensions, or rather, to really make the thing that you're working on look 3-dimensional. Because, I mean, this is just a 2-dimensional screen. No matter what I do, it will always be 2-dimensional. That is just the nature of the surface that I am working on. Computers, or computer screens, are just 2-dimensional, and everything I do to try to make things look 3-dimensional is nothing more than an illusion. I'm just trying to give the illusion of that kind of space within this 2-dimensional surface that I am working on. So sometimes I gotta think about what will make that more convincing. What can I do to lie to people more effectively? Best way to think about art is what you're doing. You're tricking people's brains into thinking that this surface is, in fact, not what it is. I personally think it's pretty cool. When I was a tiny human, just role-playing on the internet, basically just playing pretend on the internet, the kind of superpower that I enjoyed the most for a long time was illusions. I had more fun with them. And so I'm not surprised that I kind of treat art the same way. Of just, okay, what can I do to make my illusion just a little bit more convincing? I'm sure there are some artists that would take offense to this comparison, but I don't know. I think it's a neat ability. You get to make anything you want real, and even if it doesn't necessarily come into reality, the same way, say, making a building does. You can have all kinds of imagined buildings that couldn't even exist in reality. And people can look at them and understand them. I mean, just look at Escher's art. The stuff that he drew could not exist in reality. That was kind of the point. But within the little worlds that he created, you could do all kinds of just bizarre, mind-melting things, and it was fantastic. And just the sheer amount of technical skill and understanding of at least how we perceive reality is necessary in order to make stuff like that, so. And personally, I don't think most art is, even no matter how much of an illusion it is, I don't think any art is completely divorced from reality. It is ultimately informed by our reality. The reality of the artist and the reality of the viewer. The artist just gets to show the viewer what they want the viewer to see, and the viewer gets to make their own interpretation. And I think it's kind of neat. It's a very special form of communication, in my opinion. I'm not sure if art can necessarily tell you more than words can, but it can tell the story in a different way. Often in ways that I think people using words would struggle to do. Because I've heard this come up with words and how to define them quite often. And that, okay, maybe I can't tell you what this thing is, but I know it when I see it. And I think that pictures and visual art can connect with people on that level. Man, straightening this out is actually proving to be difficult. It might have actually been easier just to let the sleeves squish together like I was thinking about doing, but I think this will be better for everything in the long run. It's just it's gonna take me a hot minute to actually get all this in the right place. Alright, and I think I will consult the mesh just because there are some areas that are behaving a little strangely, and I would like to fix them. And that's where consulting the mesh can kind of help me out a little bit. Fortunately, it seems like when I was doing my initial moving things around that this area just got really, really distorted. So I'll just have to do a little bit of extra work in order to push it all into the right place. Some of this, I think I want it to kind of get a little bit thinner near the bottom to make it look like it's turning a little bit. Like it's, This is back to what I was trying to describe at the beginning, but basically if you picture the bottom of the sleeve here, whereas on my downward angle, I'm probably gonna make it look like it's... We see more of the bottom, so we'd see a plane that we didn't see on the front. Whereas here, I'm making it so we see less of it, so that same plane that we would see on the front is now, like, behind it. Unfortunately, this isn't shaded in that way, so it's kind of hard to illustrate, but I think it'll make sense once I actually have it moving right. I hope. I hope. And even if it doesn't, I think that it's the kind of thing that can be felt. Some movement can only be felt. And the good news is that I'm already kind of feeling it. So I think that bodes well for what I will be able to do when the time comes. And let me see. Does this seem good now? Okay, a little fat up there, but otherwise, yes, I think this is okay. Yeah, just got a little shenanigan near the top. Then I just have to do the same with this side. Send help! It's like, I just have to do it one more time. Oh no. It's okay, art is like that sometimes. I'm doing my best. Just doing my best always. Man. I just wish you were a little bit less finicky. A little bit less picky about where you want to live. But no, you know what you want. And you're not gonna rest until you get it, and I can respect that. But you'll just have to give me a second, little sleeve. Because you do have a lot of little wrinkles and curves. And sometimes it takes me a second to fully understand. But it's okay, I think I'm getting there. Just keep being patient with me. Okay, I think this is good. It's getting a little thick over here still. So I do think I have a few more corrections there, but now that I think about it, I think I want to do this belt and then the bottom part of the sleeve. And the reason that I'm really focusing on the bottom part of the sleeve here is just because I think it defines the twist the best. Like, you can see the back there and how far it's being raised. So I hope that kind of gives the impression that I want to give. So let's actually get this belt. Let's see, what exactly do I want to do with you? What do I want to do with you? It's actually not that bad right now. The main thing is I don't like the way the tip is going up. I definitely know what I was thinking with that. It's just going up a little bit too much. And I wanted to make it look like it is disconnected from the rest of the belt because, you know, it is. It's connected right there. But everything over here is not connected, so it's just gonna flop about on its own. So it doesn't necessarily need to follow the curve in the exact same way. Yeah, that's already a lot better, actually. And then how much control do I have over that highlight? Because if I have a lot of control over that highlight, I think I want to show more of it. To make it seem like we're seeing the top a little bit more. Where are you? There you are. I actually do. It looks like I do have a fair amount of control. Okay, so let's just stretch this out a little bit. Make it look just a touch thicker. I think that'll look pretty cool if I can get it right. Might look a little weird at first, but I promise I have something in mind. Okay, then the other big thing I need to do is connect the bottom part here to the belt itself, which goes over there. So, yeah. I'm gonna hide it for a second and perfect the shape of the belt itself. So yeah, I have most of this pretty good. It just does not properly follow through here. I actually think what I have going up there is pretty good. Or it will be, you know, once I perfect the shapes, but the idea is very solid. So the idea there is that because we're seeing more of the top of the belt, we'd also see a little bit more of the inside little corner there. So I'm just gonna push everything over here a little bit. And make it look like we are seeing more of that inside portion. Like I said, I think rigging has helped my perspective drawing skills immensely. I don't think it's a coincidence that I really started playing a lot with perspective in my drawings once I started rigging, because I realized it's fun. What I like to do is extremely unrealistic. I just like to do lots and lots of extreme perspective. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I started doing a lot more of that when I started rigging. I was starting to even before then, but I was able to do it much more effectively once I did. I've said for a long time that I do not think that there is such thing as useless knowledge. You can incorporate knowledge in a lot of really weird ways. And there will be ways that pretty much anything you learn can help you. Yeah, I think that's probably good. And I feel like rigging and drawing in perspective, like it makes sense on how those would help each other, so that one's not that much of a stretch, but... Man, I'm trying to think of something that was just especially weird, but for whatever reason, nothing is immediately coming to mind. Or things that seemed really disconnected. I know it's happened before, but so I'm a little bit sad that nothing is immediately coming to mind here. Maybe if I give myself a second, something will. What was something that helped me with things that you might not expect? Actually, there is one. And this is another one that I think helped with art specifically. And I played chess when I was younger. Lots and lots of chess. And I unironically think that helped me learn how to draw too. Because so much of chess is being able to picture things in your head clearly. What the board will look like in like 10 turns. And that's just something you gotta be able to do if you want to be good. Because if you can't do that, you're not gonna get good. You're not gonna be able to properly outsmart your opponent. And make proper plans. It's just not gonna work. So I actually do think that's probably a skill that I'm using right now, actually, of just, okay, how will this move? Can I picture it in my head? So unironically, I do think that playing chess helped me be able to do that. So, you know, if you don't want to do, it don't matter much. Just do something. Anything is better than nothing. And even if you decide you don't want to do it later, like I don't play very much chess anymore because I found myself not enjoying the company of many of the people that I played with. And I felt like the competitive nature of the game was just bringing out the worst in people. So I decided I didn't really want to play anymore, but, you know, I'm so glad I did. I do think it helped me do many a thing. And I'm glad I did it. And if I ever want to play again, I still remember how. So, it's okay. Just go out, do something interesting. Enjoy life. Don't worry about it. Just pick something that sounds interesting today. See where it takes you. Because it legitimately might not be what you expected. Alright, through all that, I think I've almost got this belt in place here. The belt was kind of interesting because it had this point where it kind of went inward that I wasn't expecting. Like, I would normally expect a belt to just go all the way across here, but no, it dipped inward. And so I needed to kind of imitate that. My imitation is a little bit flatter, but I think that makes sense given the angle. And yeah, so it was looking strange until I figured that out. Now I think it looks much better. Now it's just looking a little bit thick on the side here, so I'll just go in and do something here. Actually, if we're talking about things that I never really expected to go anywhere, that I did just because it sounded interesting at the time, rigging was one of those things. I was like, you know what? I want to learn how to make portraits for games that are animated and lively and cool. Live2D is where I see most people do that, but Live2D is expensive and annoying, so I found an open source alternative in Inochi2D, and then I went out and saw that most of the tutorials for Live2D, as I was still... that there aren't very many tutorial resources for Inochi2D specifically. So I figured that I could just get general rigging knowledge from Live2D tutorials, and accurate, I did. But most of those were for VTuber models. And I was like, yeah, VTubers are kind of interesting. I'll do it in that style until I learn what I'm doing well enough to kind of do what I want, and so I made one. And I was like, you know, maybe I should actually use it. Let's do it. And so I did. And now I'm an anime girl on the internet. If you asked me 2 years ago if I'd be doing this, I'd feel like, what? But here we are. Did not expect it at all. And I think what is especially amusing about all that is that the game that I wanted to learn how to make portraits for, my husband and I aren't even working on right now. I think we want to someday, but it's just kind of not in the cards right now. So life is funny and surprising. But you know, once we do start working on that game again, I'm gonna know how to make animated portraits. It'll be great. They'll be even better than what I could have made before all this, so I'm just going. Alright, and I think things here are looking pretty good, so I'll probably turn the flat back on soon. It's kinda making sure those back parts are connected properly. Yeah. That looks pretty nice. I think so. Okay. So this guy is sticking out just a little. I'll tuck him back in, but besides that, I think I can start moving the flap around now. Let's actually connect this. So you can see here, it's just going way out there. That is not where it needs to be going right now. So let's kind of get these overlapping like they should. This can come up here, and this should go down here. And I will just carefully adjust the edge. And now it should look pretty alright. In theory. Okay, it also has a little twist here. A little bump. So I will need to fix that. I like the top though. This looks pretty awesome. I like the way the highlight is getting a little bit thicker. I think the tip is still pointing a little bit too far upward. And then we got the little bump there. But the start is good. I don't really want any of the belt to be showing below there, but let's just get the general gist down here. Let's just get the gist here. Always a good first step when arting. Trying to do everything at once will generally yield bad results. Gist first, details after. You'll have an easier time. And even though I worked pretty hard in order to get the shape of the belt right, it's not quite jiving with what I have on the belt flap here. The belt flap should be completely covering the belt itself, so I will end up tucking some of that in. I'm using it as a way to tell if the belt itself here is in an okay spot. And I do think I want to pull it down just a tad. Just a tad. Well, yeah, I think once I get this belt part, I think I will do the belt loop 2. Then hopefully this lower part of the sleeve will be a little bit easier to work on. And I'm still not quite sure what I want to do with the metal. I'm afraid of the metal. Just because it's supposed to be, you know, rigid. I keep talking about the rigidity of the metal. That's just because I think the texture of the area that I'm working on is very important to how it moves. And I'm not quite sure I'm going to reconcile that with the angles that I want for certain things. It's gonna be interesting. I'll just leave it at that. It'll be interesting. Very much so. Okay, I think that's a pretty good little twist there. Okay, I want to fix part of the sleeve over here just to make sure I'm doing it right. I'm not going to get it super, like, accurate or anything. I just want to make sure that when I have it a little bit more accurate, it still looks okay. Because right now it was kind of sticking out there, and I want to make sure that it doesn't look like the belt is moving to the left. Because it should not be. Okay, and it does look like the connecting point actually is moving a little bit to the left here. So let me adjust here a little bit because there is a little bit of a bump right there. I want to preserve the shape, and then I can go ahead and push this guy just slightly back over to the right there. That would have been too much. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. I'll try again. Just gotta keep trying until I get it right. It's fine. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Man, I really do enjoy the art in this game. For as hard as it is to rig, it is very nice to look at, which makes it a little bit easier to rig. Because at least I get to see all the pretty colors and shapes in there. It's so nice. I've fallen asleep. As it tends to at around this time. Alright, I think I got a nice looking belt there. There's still some shenanigans around here, but I think before I get too deep into those shenanigans, I want to get all of the metal parts and the belt and just all of the decorations. Just because I do not think I will be able to get the shape of the coat right until those parts are right, because I get the shape of the coat relative to those parts. Alright, let's take a look at the loop here. How should you be? Gotta think about it real quick. So, with the way this is twisting, we'll see more of the top of this and less of the bottom of that. I do think that the belt will be a little bit closer, but not like that close. Like, this looks a bit silly right now. I mean, watch the belt. It's just gonna go whoop, Not quite working for me. But I think I have an idea of what to do. I'm gonna go hide the inside. Where is it? Is that you? Yes. So there's the belt loop back. Where is the belt loop? Here it is. I'm gonna keep it fairly flat, and then I'm gonna really squish in the bottom there. Because I think that's what will make it look like we're seeing a little bit less of the bottom. I think that's still gonna be too close, but let's take a look. I'm just gonna get the bottom in place. Do not mind the top. Don't worry about it. I gotta do one thing at a time here, so I'm starting here. I think this is moving well relative to the belt. And that's kind of what I was caring about right now, so hopefully this will end up doing what I want. Once I get all the stuff around it right. It is a little bit hard to see with everything around it just not agreeing with my choices here. But they're gonna have to deal for a little bit while I work on gradually pushing everything into place here. Okay, yeah, I think that'll look good once I fix some of the other stuff around it. Because right now the sizing isn't quite right in a bunch of places, but I do like the way more of the highlight here is showing. And I'm just going to minimize this. I don't need that right now. So I just have to fix various pieces here. The big idea is good. Now it is time for the details. And it's occurring to me that I am probably not going to finish this twist today. Oh man, I probably need another day to do the lower angle here. Oh man, nope, that is not it. Okay, so the top of here is actually quite round, and here I'm making it flat. It's so funny that when I was working on the hair, I was very surprised by how straight so many of the strands are, and now that I'm working on her clothes, I'm finding myself surprised at how many curves there are. It's kind of funny how that works out. Alright. I think before I continue on shaping this perfectly, I want to make the button a little bit more prominent and large, like we're seeing it from the top. So it's going to be a bit rounder. Like I'm trying to remove some of the perspective on it. I think that will help sell the angle once I get it right. That's always the thing. I have to get it right first. And it's not going to be that much larger. Just a tiny little bit. Yeah, just enough to kind of follow this part here. Okay. I'm also going to straighten out that part. Oh, I didn't realize I accidentally hid you. You should not be hidden. You are fine. You are fine. The way you are. So just trying to kind of flatten that out just a touch there. Straighten out some of the triangles. And hopefully that will have this highlighted part the way that I want it, so I can work on the shape of the outside. Yeah, I think that is great. So now I can work on the top part here, knowing that everything else inside here is roughly the way I want it. We'll see if I want to make any adjustments after, but for now, I think this is pretty good. Yeah, there we go. I think that is a lot better. I actually don't think this top part is moving down quite enough, though, so let's see if I can just pull the whole thing down without exploding everything. Because I just don't think it's moving down the same amount as, like, the belt. And I want it to look like it's moving down about the same amount as the belt. I want it to look like the top of it is at about the same place that relative to the belt. Yeah, there we go. Now it's all kind of moving together. I gotta straighten it out again, but that's okay. That's kind of to be expected when moving large things at once. It's not that big a deal. Unfortunately, it is a tad finicky. It has a very specific shape to it. And even though it's... I mean, it looks like fabric to me. Maybe leather, but I mean, it looks even more fabric-y than some of the other parts of her jacket. So I'm just trying to work out how things should be moving in that regard. And now that I look at it, where is the belt itself? There it is. Parts of this highlight aren't moving the way that I want them to. I'm also going to thicken up the highlight here. Okay, that should be fine. I think the only reason I see any squirming at all is just because I'm zoomed in to like 400%. So this should be fine. Okay. So now I want to go fix up the seam kind of coming down here. It doesn't look good to me. So let's see if I can smooth it out a bit. Why can I never find this layer, I swear? It just reminds me of when I was working on the hair, and there was a couple of hair layers that just always seemed to hide from me. For whatever reason, my eyes would just skip over them and I could never find them. Silliest thing. So silly. So I'm feeling that again here, and once again, it is making me feel a little bit silly. I'm just like, where'd it go? Where's the layer hiding? What's it even doing over there? How'd you get all the way over there? Okay, and now there's like a little divot there, but I think I finally have this loop roughly the shape I want it to be. So now I can go back to shaping the top. Actually, before I shape the top, there is one more thing I want to check. First, I want to lower the highlight at the bottom here. So that just means pushing all of these vertices down. Easy peasy. I just want to make it a little bit lower and flatter. And then what I really want to do is I want to move these shadows on the edge of the sleeve there. So this way they move a little bit more relative to the belt loop itself. Because right now I just see that this shadow is like not moving the way it should, and it's kind of stopping me from being able to see whether or not this belt loop is in the right place. So I just needed to move it out of the way a little bit. I will clean it up a little bit more nicely a bit later when I go to work on the rest of the sleeve. I think this bottom part is moving too much now. And I think I want to move the entire belt loop itself. Just like the whole dang thing. A little bit to the left there. Okay, so I overdid it here. Such things happen sometimes. Probably more than sometimes, honestly. I do it a lot. Okay, but this is seeming pretty good. So now I do think I can finally go in and shape the top like I've been talking about. Alright, little top part. How are you supposed to look? I actually don't mind it looking a little bit stretched out there. Actually, it's not bad. I think I might already have it. Okay, cool. Let's zoom out so this way I can get a better idea of how it all looks. Yeah, see, it's pretty good. I like it. Okay. Yeah, I said I was gonna go work on the lower part of the sleeve after I got this, but I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna go do the metal parts. I'm gonna stop procrastinating on them, and I'm just gonna get them done. So, I have decisions to make. How should these be? I don't mind them being a little bit rounder than they otherwise seems like they should be. As in, I don't mind if they look a little bit bent. I don't mind if they look a little bit gooey. But right now they are extremely gooey. My goodness. So gooey. Okay. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this part here and kind of slide it upward. I'm also wondering how much of this I can copy and paste onto the other ones, because all of these are very similar in shape. These ones are a little bit more different, but these guys are all pretty similar. Same with the kind of connecting piece. So I'm gonna see how much of it I can copy and paste after I get this one looking good. So I just want it to look a little bit straighter. I'm actually gonna hide the connecting piece right now. And I'm just gonna focus on this part. I think that will make it a little bit easier for me to really focus in on the problems and slowly but surely eliminate them. No problems are allowed to exist in my happy little coat. Okay, and the big thing is I do not think that I want any of this to be moving upwards, so that means I gotta kind of slide this down a couple of small ticks there. Okay. So far, so good. Gonna be lots of fine adjustments. That's why I'm zoomed in to like 500%. A lot of these adjustments are very tiny. But they all matter in the end. So I think I've got the location fairly good, so now I'm just trying to make it look a little bit more metal-like. So trying to get rid of a little bit of the gumminess that came in from my initial movements. Make it a little bit more rigid. Try not to move it too far to the right. I'm not ready to be getting into corners here. It is not yet time. Okay. Yeah, I think this is all coming together. I'll want to zoom out and make sure that this all still looks good. Just because I do not trust my sense of perspective while I am zoomed into 500%, as you might imagine. This is why I keep zooming in and out so much. Okay. Let's go take a look and see if this looks alright now. Yeah, I mean, it still has a little bit of the gumminess in it, but I don't think it looks bad like this. So I think this is fine. Now I kind of want to do the same with this one. Like I said at the beginning, I wasn't necessarily looking to get rid of all of the kind of feeling that it looks a little bit softer than maybe metal should. Just some of it. I think it's okay to leave a little bit behind. I actually do. That's just not me giving myself an excuse to be lazy. I actually think it's fine. Because what I'm going for is not necessarily realistic movement, but movement that feels right. And maybe if I cut this into like 4 different pieces, I'd be able to get a perfectly metallic look, but I didn't, and I'm not going to, so a little bit of almost flexible looking metal I think is kind of inevitable. Oh right, I also forgot about the back of the belt here. See a little bit more of it since we're seeing it from the top. Perfect. Okay. Nice and easy. Yeah, ever since I started rigging, I looked at a bunch of the live 2D portraits in some gacha games, and I have found that they do stuff like this quite often, where even metal parts that should be a lot more rigid kind of have a little bit of bounce to them, and it actually looks better that way, I think. It just looks happy and lively. And I think that's more important than strictly adhering to realism. But I mean, it's not like I've had a comparison of what it would look like if it didn't have that view, so it's entirely possible that I am wrong here and it was done strictly because it's easier. But at the very least, what I can say with confidence is that I don't think it looks bad. Which is why I am not afraid to do it myself. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and turn this last piece back on. This part I want to be a little bit straighter. Because right now it's like bending and it's too much. It is too much. I say after my little explanation of why a little bit of bending is okay, but no, this is too much bending. Gotta straighten it out just a little bit here. There is such a thing as too much. You can see, even here, there's still a little bit, but I think it already looks a lot better. So, hopefully there'll be some room for me to keep a little bit of a curve to it. Even if it doesn't strictly make sense. Okay, and indeed, I think I am going to put a little bit of curve right up in here, even though, again, it doesn't strictly make sense. But I think that's about where I want it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now let's see how much of this I can copy and paste. So let's see here. You are... what are you called? Coat sleeve buckle. Left, left. Yeah, I want to stick with the ones on the right. Because you are on the right, right? Coat sleeve, buckle, yes. So it looks like I can only copy it to 1. that's okay. I will start with that. And I'm not sure if I can use you. I'm gonna start with this one. Okay, good. And once again, I only want to copy it to ones on the right. And I will see how that looks. Left, or right. Okay. And let me see here. There's... Okay, so can I copy you to any others? No. Okay, so that means I will have to rig these two separately. Alright, and now that I have tried to copy the other pieces over there, I'm gonna see if I can copy this one up to here. I do not think I can. But I will take a look. I think it is at least worth taking a look. Okay, so it says that this one is similar enough. I don't know what I just copied it to. Okay, so hidden. Okay, so that was the only one similar enough there. Let's see how things look right now. I still have a lot of stuff to fix, but... I do feel like it saved me a lot of time on the screw parts, though. Yeah, indeed, I think this side looks okay. I don't think I really need to fix it any further. So, let's just start fixing up these guys on there, and then I can worry about all of those. So I'm just gonna hide all of these for now. We will worry about them later. And I will figure out how these metal parts need to move. Okay, I think I see it. I will just tackle them one by one. Just gotta look closely. For the most part, it looks like they were just getting smaller, which tells me that I probably moved the top part without moving the bottom part very much. And then there's a few where I feel like the upper right corner of them got pushed in a bad direction. And then from there, just a matter of cleaning up and doing the little things I can to make it look a little bit more metallic and rigid. Like I wanted to try to keep this part flat as it is in the default version. Yeah. And I think that's pretty good. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this part on all of them. And then I will worry about turning the little connecting pieces back on. So once all of these look good, it should be nice and easy to do those last adjustments. Never realized this one was hanging so far off the coat. I guess... I mean, it looked fine, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep the same pattern. Just a little surprising, but I guess, this part is covered up enough by its little connector piece that it just was never a problem. Which I think is kind of interesting. Just goes to show, even when you're working on something for a long time, and even though I cut this out like this, that there are a lot of things that can go unnoticed. I still remember looking at old art from a long time ago, and I'm just like, man, how did I miss that? It seems so obvious to me now. But sometimes when you're in the thick of things, It's super easy to just miss something important. One of the many reasons art is hard. Make no mistake, art is definitely hard. Alright, and already, I think I've gotten through all the buckles. So it'll be time to do those last couple of connecting pieces. I think the one down here will be fine, but I will take a look. No, maybe it won't be fine. Oh my. Yeah, so that didn't copy quite like how I was hoping. I might want to just straight up unset that then. Let's see, what are you called? Buckle, bottom, or coat sleeve, buckle, middle. Coat sleeve, buckle, middle. Man, that was levels of far off that I did not really enjoy. Anyway, like I said, I am going to deliberately curl it just a little bit. Just so it matches up with all the other ones. Kind of unfortunate that I had to unset it, but... I think it would have been just way harder to fix that. I really do. I think that would have been a complete nightmare. So I will deal with this nuisance instead of just trying to get the right amount of curve versus straight. So this way it matches up with all the other pieces around it. And I think that will be much easier to manage than whatever the heck I had before. So, boy, that was that was a problem. There was just this weird dent in the side there, and I was not quite sure what was happening. Okay, this is a little bit too curved, but it's at least mostly in a good spot, and indeed, it didn't take me very long to get here. So that all worked out. Alright, it always does. It always works out in the end. I make it so. Okay, and there's a shenanigan or two going on here, so I'm just gonna take a look and see what the mesh says is going on here. Alright, that's not bad. I want to take a quick look at a couple of things, though. I was just realizing I wasn't quite sure if I was happy with the top screw there. I wanted to make sure that I was okay with the one here. And because these layers are not all completely identical, it looks like I might have a couple of things to fix on each one. And in this case, I just did not like this upper screw. Actually, I don't like the lower one either. So even though I could do some copy and pasting, it looks like I cannot completely turn my brain off. Alas. I was able to make my life a little bit easier, but not that easy. Still, I'll take it. Making things a little bit easier for myself is always a good time. It just goes to show you can never truly just fully turn your brain off. Gotta make sure you actually look at everything. Make sure they're all playing nice together. Okay, and just a couple of small things I want to clean up. I'm not quite happy with where that highlight is. Then just 2 more metal pieces to go! Help! Okay, yeah, that seems pretty good. So now let's go do the next one, and I guess I should fix this part before I go put the connecting piece on, because yeah, I see a few things that I didn't see before when I wasn't paying as much attention. And now that I'm really looking at it, I want it to be a little bit more like this. Just a little bit more stretched out through there. Okay, and then the screw also has to go a little bit further to the right. Because it was curved kind of like this. Each one of these little pieces is an individual in the end. They have their own little preferences, and personally, I just like writing random little stories about my vertices while I work on them. It helps keep me sane. Maybe it seems strange to say that personifying my, little triangles within the scope of this program is what's keeping me sane, but as opposed to just being a result of insanity. That's okay. It makes me feel better. I can just think about what they want, and thinking them as a tiny little people just makes it easier for me to want to give it to them. Just my cute little vertices. Alright, let's just finish straightening this guy out. I think this is probably fine. I'll see how it looks once I get this connecting piece done. Okay, and I think I know just what to do with this little connecting piece. I'm gonna get a fairly big brush there. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Accidentally grabbed that there. Happens more than I like to admit. Okay, there we go. It's slightly curved, but I think it's straight enough to look good. Although the fact that my other keyframes turned yellow means that I must have the transform from accidentally clicking on that here. Do I actually use that anywhere? I don't. Okay. Remove. Okay. I think I'm good now. Okay, I feel like the tail on the screws here is a little bit too strong. So I'm gonna rein that in just a touch. I want it to curve a little bit, but not quite that much. Okay, that is much better. So I just gotta get these last couple of pieces in place, and you know what? I think this is okay. I think it'll look great once I actually get the coat all lined up with it. So, one more. One more, and then I can start lining up the coat the way that I want it to. The way that I want to. Because I think that's when everything is gonna look pretty nice. Right now, all the shadows and highlights of the coat are not lined up with the metal bits at all, and I just see them squirming, and it bothers me so much. But there's not much point in trying to fix it until I get the metal parts right. So, here I am. I always gotta remind myself I can only take things one step at a time. Otherwise, it won't work out and I will just drive myself crazy. And end up taking, like 5 times as long as I need to. Just flailing. Wouldn't be surprised if that's what took me so long in adjusting the hair. Alright, I think that is much better. Once again, I mean, it's not... It's still bending, but I think it's bending an appropriate... Oh my. Oh my. I must have tried to copy this one too. Okay, I'm not gonna try to fix that, so let me find it here. You are coat sleeve buckle hidden. Screws loop connecting. Unset. I'm saying no. No thank you. No thank you. Okay, so now I just gotta get this into place here, and that'll be easier than dealing with that wrinkly mess that it looked like I might have had to deal with before. Ooh, that was pretty nightmarish. There's been times where I untangle all that, but I don't think it was necessary here. Here, I think I can just make my adjustments like this. It's easier. Easier, but of course that doesn't mean easy. It's probably going to take me a couple of tries to get that all. This was shaped a little bit weirdly. Must have been why it got all wrinkly when I tried to copy it over. You know, good notes for when I do the bottom turn. Or bottom keyframe. Good notes indeed. I know not to attempt that. It'll be easier just to do each piece individually, I think. Because it didn't take me too long to adjust these guys. I felt like it actually took me a lot longer to adjust the screw parts and these center connecting pieces. So I think, yeah, I just won't try to copy everything. Man, it feels weird that not trying to copy things over and save myself some work was actually making things harder for me. Or that not doing it would probably save time. Yeah, I guess the meshes just are not similar enough. That's alright. I tried, I learned, and now I know not to do that again. That's the important part. So when I work on the lower turn on Wednesday, I won't do that. I will do something else. I will just do something else. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all right. Let me zoom out and check them all. Make sure that they're all doing what I want. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and start lighting up the sleeve. I guess, no, I think this segment is the easiest one to start with. So let's see, how should you be moving? How should you be moving, little segment? I guess I'll do the inside first. Well, no, I kind of got to do the inside and the outside together, I think. Like, it made sense to do them separately before because they were just both moving so much. But here, I don't know. I think it might be easier to do both. Things aren't moving quite so much here. So it should be doable, in theory. We'll see how it works out. And I'll just go back and forth like this for a bit since I'm just kind of checking to see where the sleeve intersects with the screws and where those shadows should go. So I don't need movement for that. I can just very lightly check it, and I will check movement after. Once I feel like my non-movement pass is looking good, I can just go back and check over everything with movement. In the end, how it moves matters more than anything else. I could get this as accurate as possible, and if it moves badly, then it's bad, but generally, accuracy like this will make it move better. That's just what I'm going for right now. Just the basics. Okay, let's do the next little segment. Actually, I feel like the outer part of the code here looks fine. Don't really think it needs changing. The inner part has a couple of spots that look a little bit off, but overall, I think it's okay. Let's see, is it lining up with the screw there? Okay. There's a little bump right there. It's just a little one, so I don't want to push it out too hard, but it is there. It does exist, so I should acknowledge it. Vertices get very upset when you don't acknowledge them. And you just kind of ignore them. Makes them very pouty, and then they squirm and bother you out of the corner of your eye. So, better just give them what they want. Okay. Next, how's this part? So it looks like this part just kind of has to come down a bit. More like this, I think. Yeah, that's a lot better. And now I'll just fix up the shape here. I do like Shalom's coat. I think it's very stylish. So, looking at all the tiny little shapes like this just reminded me of that. There's a lot of little pieces to fix up here. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that I like it, because otherwise, you know, if I didn't like the art that I was working with so much, a lot of this would probably drive me far more insane. And I just look at it and I'm gonna just be like, oh man, it's so pretty. It's all so pretty. It makes me happy. So here I think I can afford to be a little bit less picky just because most of this is going to be covered up, but I want to get the general gist of everything down. I think this is probably fine. Okay, so let's do these bottom parts now. And then I'm going to do another pass just specifically to check the shadows. Okay, so I think the outer part here kind of has to come inward just a little bit. It got pulled back out a little bit. And then there's this bump here, and that bump there is actually lower relative to everything else. So I want to pull some of these vertices down. I can see that they are getting a little bit compressed up there. So it makes sense. And yes, it does seem like further down does have a lot more problems. Unfortunate. But it's alright, I will help them out. I will do everything I can. Get all of these little vertices into the spot of their dreams. Yeah, and it does feel like a few of these parts still just are not coming down quite enough. There's a little bump right there where the line gets thicker. And he was a bit too high. These are all the little things I try to pay attention to. There are so many little things. Vertices are very needy. But I'm happy to help him out. Okay, I think that's better. So now I'll go do this inner part. And right through here I felt like I was having more issues. So that's why I started on the other side. It seemed a little bit more straightforward. And over there is still a bit wrinkly, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting the right idea here. And, you know, here it was some places yes, some places no. I pushed over here just a little bit too far forward. Probably was why it was so wrinkly. Okay, and I see that it intersects this buckle a little bit further, a little bit higher up than I thought it did. Kind of sits on top, actually. Okay, I think that's about right. I think that looks pretty good. So now I just gotta get down here. I kind of started this area, and then I was like, you know what? I'm finding it hard to read with the belt there being wrong, so I should go work on that first. And now that I have all of these parts right, I think I can finally go in and adjust everything that I was working on. I do feel like that this line is a little bit too close there. So let's see how much control I have over that. Less than I would like. Maybe I can do something like this, though. Where I just separate the inner line and the outer line just a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. Probably about the best I can do. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Alright. before... Actually, you know what? No. I was thinking about fixing the highlights and shadows before I really went in and checked the movement, but nah, I think I want to try to fix the highlights and shadows first while everything is still kind of in stop motion here. And then I'll worry about that. Okay, so I just kind of want to straighten out this highlight here. I'm going to check where the metal parts connect in particular. Like, I can see that this one is a bit off. Like, in particular, this should be lower and this should be higher. I wanted to kind of keep the similar shape. That should be good. I feel like over here is looking pretty okay. And this big shadow here, I want to move with the belt loop just a little bit more. So that'll be kind of like this. I move it just a little bit down into the left, so this way hopefully it looks like it's running through where the button on the belt loop is. Like the shadow is caused by the button there. Because there's a little dent where it's just being held together. Like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Because I think the shadow kind of represents the dent being caused by this and this pulling the sleeve down. Okay, fortunately all the other shadows were not that bad. There weren't a lot of issues. Just some minor corrections. Okay, let's see how it looks in motion. Okay, I see a couple of things I want to correct, but for the most part, I'm actually quite happy with this. I will just need to, I still have not done, like, the inner part here, this kind of whitish area, and then there's a shadow down here I need to get, and of course the shadows on this inner area. But for all of these, yeah, there's just a couple of areas I want to fix up. Mostly right here. And like right here. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think everything else is looking good. I am pleased. I really am, because man, that was actually pretty hard. I severely underestimated the difficulty of just doing this little twist. I thought it would be pretty straightforward. It was not. Not at all! That's okay, I do think it'll look quite good once I get it all done. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting it on that pendulum. But that will have to wait until I get all of these keyframes done. And I will need one more day to get the lower turn there, but I think I will finish the upper one. We'll see what future me thinks of everything I did today, and if there's anything that I still need to adjust afterward, but I think I did pretty good today. I took things nice and slow, and worked very hard on being accurate. So hopefully my future self will be happy with everything and can just jump right into that lower keyframe. And get this all done. straighten out that highlight there and get the shadow exactly the way I want it. There's just a lot going on in this sleeve. So it takes a little while. It's a bit terrifying, honestly. Just how many things I've been having to look at here, and how particular I need to be. But I think it looks really good. I'm very happy with how it's turning out so far. I'll go ahead and take a look at the corners, the upper corners. And at the end of my work time here and see what I think so far. I'm hoping that the corners will be kind to me. But with as much deformation as in a lot of this, I am not sure if they will. I think that they might have a couple of objections here and there. I'm not sure if the computer's going to be smart enough to really understand. Okay, this all seems pretty good. How are we feeling now? Not quite happy with right there. I think I want to bring this shadow down a little bit too. Where are you? There we are. Can tell I'm getting a wee bit tired. So I'm losing track of my layers now. It's okay, art is hard. I have to think a lot. But the result is worth it. I love seeing everything come together. It's very satisfying. Man. Lots of little highlights and shadows right around there. There's the way the metal pieces connect to everything. They cause a lot of little highlights and shadows to show up. So this is a good thing to note for your own art of just what is causing these highlights and shadows to exist. And a lot of that is just where these metal parts are demanding that they exist, because they're pushing in really hard on, like they're digging into the coat. And so there's a shadow where they're kind of distorting the shape of the coat. And then highlights sitting around that where they stick up. They stick up a little bit further. So it's kind of interesting to see. Here I'm just consulting the mesh because I felt like I was getting really far off in some areas and I just was struggling to identify where the problem was. So that's where the mesh can help me. The mesh can help a lot in those kinds of situations. Yeah, I think that's all right. Let's zoom out and take a look. All right, awesome. I like it. So now let's go ahead and work on the kind of white inner part. I'm not fully happy with that shape. I started working on it at the beginning of the stream, but then I was like, you know what? It's gonna be kind of hard to get this right without knowing how everything else is gonna look, so I figured it was a good idea to work on everything else first. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And then on the back, there's like this little shadow. And I still want him to stick out a bit. He kind of got pulled back with everything else, but I think that shadow needs to be there. I'm not actually sure how this got drawn, but I can make it work. I can tell that there's like there must be some residual stuff on this layer, which is a little awkward. I didn't cut it right. Oh well. I think it's fine. I can make it work. It's a small enough detail that I'm not even sure how many people will notice, but if Inochi was a little bit more stable, I'd probably redo that part, because it wouldn't be that hard. But I just do not trust replacing textures right now. Not at all. I had so many problems with this in the past, and I just don't want to deal with it right now. So I will do my best. Do the best with what I've got. Alright, I think that's good. Let's go ahead and adjust some of the shadows sitting on here. I actually think the belt shadow is fine the way it is. So we gotta fix that guy. I'm just gonna pull this on down. Make sure it's actually covering everything. There we go. And then I'll go up the sleeve. Try to get the same kind of shapes. I don't really think that the shape of the shadow needs to change much here. So I just kind of want to keep it looking about the same. And that just means I gotta push some parts out a little bit more. A couple parts I gotta push in, but mostly I feel like the problems are, some just aren't coming out far enough. Okay, that seems pretty good. Let's go. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go copy it to the other side for now. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to give it one more look over, and I will copy it to the other side at the start of next stream. Just to make sure that I'm happy. Because this way, where I need to copy it will be quite obvious, because you can see that there's these grayed out sections on the side here. And those are places that I have not copied it. And it's just easier to see them when I don't have anything pasted on there. They will be white once I copy everything over, and it'll be hard to tell the difference. So I'm gonna give it a nice thorough look over next time. And we'll go from there. So let's see here. How are the corners looking? It's not too bad, actually. I was afraid that it would be far worse than this. I might not even need to adjust the corners, actually, because, yeah, I don't really see any problems when I'm going through the upper quadrants like this. This all looks pretty okay to me. Nice. Oh, that'll be so nice if I don't have to mess with the corners. Alright. Well, I think this is where I will stop for today. Phew! These... Oh, man. I just wanted to add a quick little thing that I thought would make the sleeves look so much nicer, and... got a bit more than I expected. It's definitely a thing, but I think it'll look really good once it's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. I've come this far. Can't stop now. But this is where I will start for today, at least. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.